Okay, we're now going to look at one of the most controversial areas in the body, biomechanically and clinically speaking, the pelvic joints. There's a good deal of discussion as to whether or not these joints even move, and if they do move, whether they're prone to dysfunction. We're going to have to assume, for our purposes, that they do move and that they are dysfunctional, otherwise this will be a very short segment of the tape. Looking at the SI joint first, the leading test for the SI joint is the primary stress tests, the ones described by Syriac, the anterior and posterior gapping tests. Now, these will tell you, if they're positive, that you have an inflamed joint, a sacroiliitis. What you don't understand is whether or not that sacroiliitis is traumatic, microtraumatic or systemic. Now, in part, you'll get this from the history. A patient with a traumatic arthritis will obviously have a history of major trauma. But the microtraumatic arthritis and the systemic arthritis present about the same way in the history and on testing. So what we need then is a secondary stress test, or a series of secondary stress tests, to see whether this joint is also unstable. Now, if this is a microtraumatic arthritis, what we're saying is that prolonged or repeated stress has hypermobilized this joint to the point where we can start picking up movements that should not exist. And this is what the secondary stress tests are designed to do. So if we come and do the secondary stress test and we find that basically we do have an unstable SI joint and that's inflamed, it's almost certainly microtraumatic. If, on the other hand, it's stable and inflamed, then we really want to see about getting this referred back to the physician for more definitive workup, such as blood testing and so on, x-rays.